Hi, I'm going to show you how to make this little pair of earrings here using your Delica beads and your fire polished check glass beads. Okay? So what you will need to make these earrings, you're going to need 2 colors of your size 11 Delica seed beads, some 4mm round check glass fire polished beads, some 6-pound fire line thread, a size 12 beading needle. Ideally you could use a size 10, but it'll be easier if you use a size 12, some shepherd hooks, a pair of pliers to open your shepherd hooks, and a thread zapper. So to get started, thread your needle with about 5 feet of fire line. You're going to need about 5 feet to finish one earring. Okay, you don't need to stop a bead, so just leave your thread as it is. Start off by picking up 3 of your Delica beads, bring them down to the end of your thread, go through them again. Okay, and then you're going to tie a triple knot to tie those into a little circle. Okay, just jiggle them around so that they sit nicely in a triangle. Another knot, and another knot. Okay, make sure your thread doesn't go over your beads. Okay, there we go. Right, now go through one bead that is next to your knot, just so that you get away from your knot. Okay, now you're going to carry on by picking up 2 more of your darker beads. Then you're going to go through the bead that is next to the one that you're coming out of, like so. Okay, so these 2 new beads are sitting nicely just like that between the other 2. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to turn back in this direction. So you're going to pick up one of your lighter beads, okay, and then you're going to go back through this second Delica that you just added, okay, like so. Okay, now you're going to pick up 2 of your darker beads again, then you're going to go down the next Delica next to the one that you're coming out of, like so. These 2 will sit nicely again, they're in between the 2 existing ones. Okay, now you need to put another light colored bead on this side here. So what you're going to do, you're going to pick up your lighter colored bead, then you're going to go backwards. So my thread is coming this way at the moment. I need to go backwards through this next bead along. So I'm not going back through the one I'm coming out of, I'm going back through the next one, and you'll see why in a minute. So when you go back that way, you'll see that this new bead sits nicely next to those beads there. Okay, so it's sitting the same as the one on the other side. Okay, so now to carry on, I need to get back around to the other side here. Okay, so I'm going to go through this next blue bead, the next dark bead. Okay, then I'm going to turn around to the other side, go up through this blue bead here, and through this very first one there. Okay, can you see? Like that. Okay, and then I can turn back through the lighter colored bead, and then I can carry on from there. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up a lighter bead again, go through the next dark bead that is sticking out. Okay, now I'm at my corner again, so now I'm picking up 2 of the dark beads, going down the next dark bead along. So again, my corner beads, my spine beads are sitting next to, in between the previous 2, like so. Okay, then I'm picking up a lighter one again, going through this lighter bead here on the side. Okay, that's my next row of beads done. Okay, now I'm turning back the other way, so now I'm picking up a lighter bead again, and then I'm going back through this light bead that is sticking out, just like so. Okay, then pick up a light bead again, go through the first darker bead that is sticking out, Okay, then for the corner you're going to pick up 2 dark beads again, go down the next bead, okay, then pick up a lighter bead again, through this first one that is sticking out. Okay, now we need to put another light bead here. Okay, there's nothing to go through in that direction, so you need to turn it back around again. So as we did before, I'm going to go back through this last light bead here. So I'm coming out of that one, now I'm going to go back through this next one along. Okay, now we've done this row, but now for the next row our thread needs to be coming out of that bead, but at the moment it's coming out of this one here, so we can't carry on from there, so we need to do something to get our thread to be coming out of this bead. So for that, what we're going to do is we're going to go through this next dark blue bead, which is sitting just next to the one that I'm coming out of with my thread. Okay, like that. Then I'm going to go backwards through this light colored bead here and this one here. Okay, so through those 2 beads there, right? And now I can just turn back in the other direction and come back up through the correct bead that I need to be coming out of. Okay, I'm just going to turn it over because it makes it a bit easier that way. Now I'm going to do the next row. So pick up another light bead, go through the next light bead that is sticking out, another light bead through the dark. Then when you get to the corner, you pick up 2 of the darker beads, down the next one. Okay, then your lighter ones again, and another one. Okay, that's your next row done. Now here your turn is easy because you're already in the correct position, so you just pick up your next light bead, go back in the other direction, okay, in the corners pick up 2 darker beads, okay, and then your lighter beads again. And again, when you get to this end, you need to do a bit of a funny turn. Okay, so I'm going to pick up 1 light bead, I'm going to go back through this light bead here and through the next one underneath, so kind of diagonally like so. Don't worry if you can't go through them both at the same time, you can do one at a time. Okay, so now that one is sitting in the right position, we just need to get our thread to be coming back up through this bead. So I'm going through this one and that one next to it. Okay, and then I'm turning around, so now I'm in position to do my next row. Okay, and then you carry on just like that until you have 8 of your light colored beads on this edge here, 8 on this edge as well. At the moment I've got 3 and 3, and your thread is coming out of this last bead here. Okay, so at the moment my thread is coming out upwards. Before I did the turn, my thread would have been coming out of this one. Okay, so not at this end, you need to finish when your thread is coming out here. Okay, and you've got 8 beads, 8 of the lighter colored beads. Okay, we'll carry on from there in a minute. Right, so as you can see, I've done my 8 rows, so I've got 8 rows of the light beads here and 8 rows of the light beads there. Okay, and my thread was coming out of this last bead here, and then I've just done 1 more row using only the darker beads as before. So now I'm over on this side here where I need to do my funny turn. Okay, so I just pick up a dark bead, go down the one next to it, okay, and through the next one along, so I can turn around, then I turn around through this bead here and the one in the edge, like that. Okay, and then I can turn back and I'm ready to do my next row. Okay, so now for the last row, I'm going to start it off the same as I did before. So I'm just carrying on with my normal peyote stitching along this side. Okay, but when I get to the point, okay, one more. So when I get to the point, instead of picking up 2 beads as I've done before, I'm only going to put 1 on the end here to make it a nice little sharp point. But I'm also going to do a loop where I can attach my shepherd hook. So I'm putting 1 bead on, bringing it down to my work. Okay, now I'm going to pick up another 7, which is going to create my loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then this first bead that I added on here, I'm going to go through it in the same direction that I did before. Okay, so like that. And I'm going to go through this next bead here in my corner. Okay, you don't have to do it all at once. If you don't want to, you can do it in 2 goes. And then you'll see that this 1 bead sits there in the corner nicely, and your other 7 beads make a little loop that you can use to attach your shepherd hook. Okay, and then you carry on with your peyote stitching as before to finish the other side, just using your darker beads at this point. Okay, and then when you get to the bottom, that's where we're going to start adding the fire polished beads to embellish the bottom of your earring. Okay, so now I'm coming out of this last dark blue bead here. Then I'm going to start adding my fire polished beads. Okay, so I'm going to pick up 1 fire polished bead, 1 of the dark delicas, bring them down. Then I'm going to go back through the fire polish, skip over the delica, just through the fire polished bead, back up through the same delica that I'm coming out of, and the 1 diagonally next to it, okay, in the second row. So I'm going up 2 rows, just like that. Okay, so when you pull that tight, the fire polish is sitting nicely in position. So now I'm coming up through this bead here. I need to turn back and go back down through that one there, the one next to it, and the 1 diagonally across in the bottom row, because this way, the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to put a fire polished underneath each of the delicas, because then they'll be too close together. I need to skip a delica and put 1 fire polished under every second delica bead. Okay, so I'm not putting a fire polish there, only there. Okay, so now I'm coming out of the right bead to add my next fire polish. So I pick up another one, another delica, and again skip over the delica, back through the fire polish, back up through the same delica I'm coming out of, and the 1 diagonally in the next row. Okay? Okay, I'm just going to finish this up until the point here, and then I'll show you what to do when you get to the point. Okay, so I've added 5 of my fire polished beads. The last one is sitting on top of this very last light colored bead here. Okay, so my thread is coming out through that light bead there. And I'm just going to, I'm not going through the next row this time, I'm only going through the very first row of delicas. And then I'm turning back through this dark delica here in the corner. Okay, then I'm going through this one here, which is the little point. Okay, now I'm going to pick up another fire polished, and I'm going to pick up a delica as before. I'm going to go back through the fire polished bead, and now I'm going to go through this delica here, which is in the point, in the same direction that I did before. Okay, so kind of creating a circle like so. Okay, so now I've got 1 fire polish sitting there at the point. Then I'm going to go through this delica here, which is the first one in the row on the other side, and turn back up through the first light coloured one. Okay, and then I'm just going to carry on adding my fire polish beads, same as I did along the other side, until I've added another 5, with the last one being just underneath this dark bead here. Okay, and then all you do is you attach your shepherd's hook to the little loop that you've made at the top, and that's your earrings ready.